Oi! What is going on, ladies and gents? It is GsQ SubEvo, and I am not from the UK. But I am here today to tell you all about the different types of movement involved in Gears of War 4 and the different types of bounces that there is. But before you know any of that, you must know and understand that there is two different types of game types that we currently have available to us in Gears of War 4, that being core and competitive. But what is the difference? Well, in competitive, you're going to be able to hit the walls only from a closer distance. And you will be able to do so faster because there's an elimination of this thing called a cooldown. You have that in core. In core, you can hit the walls from a further distance, but you have that cooldown, so you can't hit the walls as fast as you can in competitive. So it's definitely something that you want to keep in mind when you're watching this video to better understand the differences between the two. Obviously, in each type, with that said, you have to actually bounce slightly different to make it an effective bounce. So we are actually going to jump right into this, but I hope that helps you understand what's going on.
The first type of bouncing that we're going to show here today is cancel bouncing. This is just basically just straight up come into a wall and pulling back with your left stick. You're going side to side. You're not slamming into the wall. You have cancel bouncing. When you step up from there, you start to move on to what a lot of people are actually going to then call camera bouncing, where you're not directly pulling back or canceling per se on the wall. You're continuing to hit A to go to the next wall without stopping really and canceling off the wall. You are still canceling in a sense, but at the same time you're continuing on, and that's camera bouncing for you. And when you learn that, you're going to want to learn how to turn around. And a lot of times you get involved with a thing called square bouncing. Well, this is pretty much just staying in one area and you're almost going in a figure eight, but it's more of a square where you're turning around and continuously going in what appears to be almost a circle, but it's not quite a circle. It's a square, so that's why they call it square bouncing. You do have a circle bounce, and that's actually when your character is spinning. And you're going like that, or, around a circle, but you're going to continuously bounce without slamming into the wall, and they call this circle bouncing. It's been around for a little while, been able to do it in quite a few different Gears of War games, but that is circle bouncing. The next bounce on the list is up bouncing. Now this is camera bouncing, but you're actually looking up while camera bouncing. So you got your right stick obviously involved for your camera, and you're going side to side, just like you were regularly camera bouncing, but you're looking up while doing so. And as you can imagine, the opposite obviously of up bouncing, some people would call it downward bouncing or down bouncing. I just like to say camera bouncing looking down, or looking down bouncing. But we'll go with the down bounce for some sort of proper terminology here. A little bit more left stick involved with this bounce in particular, because just how you have to actually hold your right stick to keep this bounce in a flow. And it looks pretty nice. It's one of my favorite ones, but with this amount of left stick going involved, you then have a twitch bounce where it's almost like a camera bounce or a cancel bounce, but you're actually doing so simultaneously off the same wall oftentimes, and you're doing it a lot faster, and it almost turns into what it looks like, and that's how it got its name, is you're twitching. So that's how they came up with the terminology twitch bounce, and that's just when you're just canceling off the same wall repetitiously. You can go back and forth between different walls and still it be considered twitch bouncing, but you definitely want to be in the sequence of hitting the wall more than a few times. So, obviously you're getting more left stick involved, and then you have something that some people will call a stationary bounce. This was done in core, so it's not as fast as it could be, but this is pretty much just when you're actually going to be stationary and bouncing in one spot. A lot more left stick involved here, still a good bit of camera, but you're staying in one spot and you're just going left to right, and it's actually an effective move because a lot of times you're in close quarters like that. But Next is going to be angular bouncing, where you're actually moving just pretty much your left stick. Your right stick is still going a little bit, not much though. It's just pretty much left stick, left, right, left, right, left, right. You got variations of this where you could do it looking down, of course. And you could do it, of course, even looking up. Functionality of that is just not so much. And then when you got all of these, you actually have what they call swerving or hyper bouncing. This is a combination of angular bouncing and camera bouncing, and you have what they call swerving or hyper bouncing. This is on the next level. But last but not least, it's not one of my favorite bounces, but it's unique in a sense. I've been doing it since Guthrie here and there, just for montage purposes. I don't really see an effective purpose to it, but it looks cool. A-B bouncing, when you're angling your camera at a wall, and you're directly looking at the wall and going back and forth between A and B, and they call it the A-B bounce. So that wraps up pretty much everything. There is obviously variations of these bounces, but this is pretty much everything that you need to know, or everything that actually might make more sense of what you already know. And of course, there might be some different terminology out there for some of this stuff, but I really just wanted to get the most common terminology out there and also help you understand exactly the differences between some of the stuff that you might see that's going on in some of the videos. So I hope you enjoyed. Alright, so obviously what you have here is your controller. I hope you know what that is, because if you don't, then chances are you're probably not going to get wall bouncing down. But when we're referring to a left stick, we're referring to this stick here. When we're referring to a right stick, we're referring to that stick here. This is also known as your camera stick, because that's going to be what helps you spin left and right, and that's going to be a part of your camera. Depending on what scheme you play, with default, you're going to be using your left stick a good bit more to pull back off the wall, because a lot of times people will actually tend to cancel bounce in a sense on default, because you're going to the wall, canceling, coming back with your left stick. Not to say that you don't do that on other game type, or I should not game types, but schemes, but you do it a little bit more frequently. It's been years since I still play back and forth sometimes, but that's neither here nor there. Next, I want to talk to you about just standard, when you're playing, most people play thumbs, which is right here. When you play claw, which I play, you're going to be playing like this right here, where your index finger is actually used on your A button. Some people do it a little bit different. I've seen it different in the past. Depending on which finger you feel comfortable with, you could use whatever you want for RT. But obviously, I use my index finger for A, and it goes into the form of a claw, in the actual shape, so that's where it gets its name. So when I'm bouncing, a lot of times, I play alternate currently in this game, so I'm holding my left stick forward a lot, and unless, of course, I'm canceling, and I'm then pulling back. But, other than that, just to go side to side, I'm like this, and my hands sometimes work simultaneously when I'm bouncing. A lot of people, want to know, hey, how are you hyper bouncing? Hyper bouncing, pretty much in this game, I'm holding the stick forward, just like I said before, but my stick is literally going side to side, left to right. We're going from 3 o'clock, or I should say 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock. Pretty much just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The A button is, something that you got to learn how to time down according to what you can play to. You obviously want to start out slow, work your way faster. It'd be best for you to probably start out on core and then work your way out, because otherwise competitive is going to drive you crazy. I can promise you. But right there, just so you get an idea of how it's held futuristically, I'll probably end up posting something on my channel regarding to the sequence of how I do it in regards to what it looks like on the screen. However, I don't think that that'll definitely help you out, because it's something a lot of times that you got to understand how it's done and then apply it and do it yourself. Otherwise, you're going to be killing yourself, I can promise you. So thanks for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe to GsQ Gaming. We got you covered with all the latest and greatest content. And be sure to check out my channel at GsQ SubEvo. I appreciate you stopping by and watching this video. You have a good day.